Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and you're watching another What I'm Reading Right Now video here on the channel. This is the series where I talk about what I have been reading, what I'm currently reading, and what I shall be reading next. It is bright and early on the 10th of June today, and I have 3 books to talk about from since the last time we spoke. Let's go. I started off by finishing Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. I audiobooked this. This is another one of her fantasy romances. I would say if you've read her Saint of Steel books, this is very similar. It's set in the same universe. It's a very similar kind of energy. We have a woman whose relatives are hounding after her inheritance, essentially, and she escapes through the help of a magical sword that has a man in it who promises to guard her. And they go on an adventure together. It was enjoyable. I liked it. It had a lot of the things I liked about the Paladin books. I don't think it was particularly different from them. I'm interested to see if, when eventually there is a sequel, what that's like. I like this a lot. I don't think it'll be for everyone, but I personally enjoyed it. Not strictly in chronological order, but while we're talking about T. Kingfisher anyway, I also finished What Moves the Dead, which is one of her horror books. I really liked this. If you have read Mexican Gothic, I think you will enjoy this book. It is probably the most I can say with the cover up that would give you an indication of the kind of energy without spoiling either of those books for people who have read them, or have not read them even. You can be spoiled if you have read it. We have a soldier who goes to visit the house of an old friend who, because he gets a letter that she is very unwell and dying, and the soldier gets there and everything is very strange and sinister at the House of Usher. It is a House of Usher inspired book, but it is definitely not just a retelling. I like this a lot, yes. And though it should probably have been my priority, the last thing I finished was Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. I think this is fantastic. Definitely look up the content warnings. There are content warnings in the book and a really solid author's note if you're planning on picking this up. But it is so good. This is a retelling of the story of the goddess Ganga. Very similarly to when I read Kaikeyi, I didn't know this story originally, but it has got me really tempted to go and look up another version of it and to have an explore of that, because it's always fun to experience myths and legend and story that you didn't know before. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was great. It's a great story. It's a great kind of epic saga almost, but it's got a lot of, ironically, humanity, given that it's dealing with gods, and heart to it, and Vaishnavi Patel can just write a really engaging book. Turns out. Second book problems? Absolutely not. This was wonderful. It's got me wanting to reread Kaikeyi now, which is not a bad thing, but I just don't have time. Current reads. I am 278 pages into Little Thieves. Honestly, if I just stuck at it and taken this downstairs from my office at some point over the weekend, I would have finished this. It is not a taxing read. I will finish this today. I really like this book. I think it's a really, I'm just going to cover up. In fact, I'll just put it down so I'm not blinding you. It's just really engaging, this kind of world of small gods. We have a main character who is the god-daughter of both death and fortune, and she is a thief that is cursed to start turning into gems until she gives all her wealth back, and it's a good kind of fable folklore storytelling experience, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm excited to go straight into the sequel, but we'll come on to that. The other book that I have started that I will confess I've not got very far into is Shards of Earth by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I've started this by audio. Controversially, might switch to physical. Maybe. I think I'm going to try and persevere with the audio for now. I think possibly I just picked this up at the wrong time. I was thinking I was going to listen to it on my commute, but my good headphones are still broken, so it's not great for audiobook listening, and I probably should just replace my headphones, but I don't have anything to say because I haven't really retained any of the information beyond some stuff that I think I've only retained because it resembles the cover, and that's not great. But we will continue on, and I will get through it. It just might take a bit more time than planned. My little weekly TBR where things roll over if I don't finish them has started to grow concerningly again, but I'm gonna keep working on it. I'm just busy. It's just busyness. It's fine. I obviously need to finish those, and then I have Painted Devils, which is the sequel to Little Thieves, which I actually might need to purchase because I've never bought a copy of it, so I might ebook that one. And then another sequel, which is the sequel to What Moves the Dead. I will have What Feasts at Night. I'm very excited to read this little horror sequel. Sorry to everyone who's missing the T. Kingfisher horror. We will be moving away from it, I think, next week. I'll check now. Well, we're going into Clockwork Boys, so it's different, at least. Then I'm going to do a reread of Heartstopper. I own books 1 to 4, which is why they're going on overbooked. I don't think right now I am financially able to buy the rest of them, but blissfully, it's a webcomic, so I can read it online. So I'm going to read all of it. I'm going to have a really lovely time doing so. I'm excited. And then for review copies, I still need to read Dreadful, because I didn't even pick that up last week. That is my I must do this week book. And then I have Unexploded Remnants, which I talked about last week. This is a AI book. It's a Tor sci-fi. It should be either good or very easily DNFable. We will find out. As we established last week, I just saw the cover and liked it and didn't really think very hard about it before requesting it. Understandably, after adding 3 books to my TBR at a time where I have started not reading very much again, I have been very good with not requesting things, so nothing new has been added to my TBR. My shelves remain as they were. And in terms of new releases, there were none for this week that I was particularly excited about. However, the 18th, which will be before next week's video goes up, so I'm going to talk about it now. We have The Cautious Traveller's Guide to the Wastelands, which I'm not utterly convinced is a June release in the UK, but we can check. Okay, no, 20th of June in the UK, so there we go. I thought that was much later in the year, but I do have a video review going up for it on Thursday, so by the time you're watching this, that should be up if I remember to schedule it. Other things to update you on that have gone on in my week. We went to see Furiosa at the weekend. If you've not seen Mad Max Fury Road, then I don't know how great this section is going to be for you. I thought it was too long, but I thought it was an entertaining film where a lot of cars flipped. Content warnings apply to this film. I will say it's worth just take care of yourself when you go to the movies, but I had a good time. I really loved a lot of the visual storytelling. I thought that was cool. And I like going to the cinema, so it was fun. Would I say that everybody needs to go and see Furiosa? Absolutely not. But I had a good time as somebody who once did a little bit of a hyperfixation on Fury Road. Is that everything I wanted to say? This week is looking like another busy one, so I don't know how well this stack of reading is going to go, but I'm going to try my absolute best, and I can't expect anything more of myself. I do have some travelling. Maybe I'll replace my headphones in the next couple of days, and that will make life easier. Perhaps I should get to that, probably. With all of that in mind, I probably ought to get going. What have you been reading? What have you been up to? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're commenting, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also come hang out on Discord, where we have chill chats about books, and that's where the T Kingfisher read-along is if you've not joined us yet. I'd like to say an enormous thank you to all the ghosts who haunt me over on Patreon. They support the channel and things like my good headphones breaking and being replaced, and in return they get early access to videos, they get bonus content, live streams, and more. If you'd like to join their number, that's linked below as well. Thank you so much to you for watching. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. I'm talking too fast. I am talking too fast. Can I spell? No. What does Waterstones say? Not sponsored by them. Just know that their pub dates are usually relatively up to date. Come on, I've not got all day. I really don't. Here we go.